I'm Scott Schill, and I started in wilderness therapy in 1989 and was a student at BYU during that time. Uh, Married, have 5 children, and I currently work at Red Cliff Ascent as the executive director. I have worked at the Wilderness Academy, which is later known as the Aspen Achievement Academy, which used to be the nursery for a lot of wilderness guides. And since its demise, or since it ended, there are other programs that kind of grow wilderness guides. I think Red Cliff is one of those. You'll find a lot of Red Cliff people out there in the industry spreading what we do. Larry Dean Olson and Ezekiel Sanchez went out, from BYU with their first groups of students at BYU. That healing took place and the human connection took place. And so as a byproduct of the wilderness experience, they connected on a human level like they hadn't before. So when they got back to school, they had almost a peer support group. Their grades improved, their involvement improved, their social involvement improved. So really nothing's changed since that time. We take children that are struggling with those aspects of relationships, and we bring them out here and we help them heal. They learn to manage conflict with digital devices, and instead of looking someone in the eye, a person has a body and a spirit, and then managing that conflict in a healthy way. And so in the digital age that we live in, we're losing a lot of the human connection, where I can digitally smack somebody down on social media, where I wouldn't do that if I'm face to face with a person and can see that my harmful words would damage their spirit. Mm-hmm. So when we come out to the wilderness, that changes. The technology is gone, and we get placed in a closed-in setting, like a family-type setting, really, with a group of students and their guides. And that human connection begins to occur without digital influence. And so we begin to problem solve socially and try to figure those things out. As you do that, there's no way that connection can happen without being aware that that I'm healing spiritually. A student probably couldn't articulate that and say, my spirit is healing, but you can see their spirits rise. One of the most common comments that we get from parents as they were reunited with their children is, I haven't seen that child in like 3 years, even though it's been 2 months or 3 months. They literally left the home 2 months ago, but they haven't seen that light in their eyes. That's the healing that to the spirit that the wilderness does, and it allows that human connection on such a basic level. And
so that light in the eyes, that's a real thing.
It is.
And we see that come into, like, we see that start to grow. It's just like blowing an ember into flame, right?
It is.
Like, it doesn't take off right away, but you can feel that life in that. You can feel the heat in that.
Yeah.
You can see it coming, and you have to care for it very carefully, right?
Yeah.
So would you mind going through and basically saying, these are the particulars that we set up when we bring a student in? These are the things that we teach them that sets that stage for that sort of, that light in the eyes to sort of kindle and begin?
Sure. When we get new guides, we're okay with getting someone who has marginal competencies in wilderness, but we get people who have high character. You've interviewed a lot of people, and one of those characteristics is compassion, and we talk about that because a child will come here, and in some cases just flailing because they've been taken out of an environment that they can manipulate, or that they have this dysfunctional relationship that's working for them, or it's a codependent relationship, and now they're extracted from it, and then they try to make us the parents. So that's the second aspect of it. One's compassion. Second is they're going to try to put you in a parent role, and so we can't go there. So we deliberately use language here at our program that we talk about the ego states and how communication best happens when we're both in the adult ego state. If I'm in a critical parent ego state and you're in a rebellious child ego state, that communication just stops. It's the continuation of what's happening at home. So again, in many cases, when you look at the population of the kids that we serve, there's a big piece of the wedge of the percentage of the kids that we serve that are they suffer from depression and anxiety. I believe that's the case across the industry. We're seeing a lot of it, and again, it's our kids are getting a sense of hopelessness. When the child comes to a program to go into the wilderness, another aspect we teach is that they are a valued person. And so we teach respect, we teach compassion, we try to get them engaged on a social level. And then our objective here is to reveal their potential and inspire hope. It's our vision statement. We use the wilderness as a catalyst to reveal potential and inspire hope. And that's what it does. And so when we talk about that light in their eyes, a lot of the depressed and anxious kids have lost that light. And that spirit is, their spirit is subdued. And when they get into an emotionally safe environment and they start to grow and start to foster relationships, that light begins to grow. And the staff, our guides, are encouraged and trained to be able to foster that, just like you do with a fire. You breathe on it gently. You've got the coal; it's there. You've got it surrounded with material that can ignite. And so we gently give it air, which it needs, the oxygen, and then it begins to grow, and it grows, and so we recognize it, we validate their successes, we validate their growth, and so those are some of the keys. Meanwhile, utilizing the wilderness and recognizing the wilderness as part in that, and so which really can't be duplicated in a building, program or other setting.
Why not?
Because we in the group, we can't decide what the temperature is going to be. We can't decide whether it's going to be night or day, or we can't extend light by flicking on a switch. Light is going to go when it goes. And so we need to get what we needed to get done in that amount of time of daylight, and then we need to rest. So it's another aspect of the healing, is that sometimes our sleep cycles get off, and they're mismanaged in a different setting, and so wilderness helps us get back on that sleep cycle, helps us become healthy again. It fosters and nourishes the spirit as well as the body.
Be very basic and elementary and specific. How does wilderness help reestablish that sleep cycle?
Basic. The group gets up. We have a breakfast process. We pack up camp. We hike, and we get to a destination. We set up camp, and by having healthy food, by having exercise, sunlight, wind, rain, the smell of the trees, the green, the color green around us, the smell of the sagebrush, the smell of the bow drill fire, all of those things, all of those activities during the day naturally take our energy. And when it comes time to lay down at night, then we can lay down peacefully and have a peaceful rest. And so it's that's the whole concept of the getting a good night's sleep. And so a lot of kids these days party a lot. So they play a lot at night, or they'll be on video games half the night, and then they're operating on little sleep. So this helps reestablish the natural sleep cycle.
How much sleep does a student get at Redcliffe on average?
Depends on winter or summer.
Mm-hmm.
Wintertime, they'll get 11 hours of sleep. In the summertime, a good solid 7 to 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in the summertime, we tend to be, of course, a lot more active. In wintertime, elements kind of limit our activity. So
Those double-digit sleep nights
yeah,
are pretty nice.
Yeah, 10, 11
nice.
hours. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Please like this video and subscribe. The Primitivus project is made possible by the generous sponsorship of Wingate Wilderness Therapy. To learn more, visit wingatewilderness.therapy.com.